days, as you all know. Can't live without it, but we struggle with it. It's okay. Thank you all again for being here. We're gonna go ahead and share our, is it our?
Yeah, I observed it. There's a lot. I know.
No, you guys.
Of course, sorry.
Just do.
Is this the right folder?
Yeah. There's.
This is the. Is it a PowerPoint or to go? That's fine. You just have to do. We're good.
Okay. And then are they, so do they see us?
We can see you. You're muted, Monique. So we can't hear you right now, but we can see you.
Thank you, Latasha. I want to make sure that you all are able to, everyone in the room.
There we go.
Okay. Beautiful. There we go.
So how do you want?
How do we-
Up here?
Everyone wanna, yeah. you wanna put it in one of it.
It's not gonna reach.
Does that reach? Oh, come on. Here we go. More.
Details all correct?
Okay. Okay, good morning, beautiful folks. Thank you all so much for your patience. Once again, please put your name in the chat. Does anyone have any questions starting out? Today we are in our hybrid meeting. So again, thank you all so much for your patience. And then we do have our chair and our vice chair, if you can see them. So then maybe let's show you all, everyone in the room. We'll do quick introductions for the folks in person, and then if anyone wants to introduce themselves on the line, and then we'll show the PowerPoint. If that's what I'm sure. Okay, so you all know me. I am Monique Guerra. I'm the Homeless Youth Coordinator with Riverside County Continuum of Care. Please let us know if at any point you can't see or hear us. And then we are being hosted today by the amazing Marler. Rainbow, if you want to peek your head in the camera real quick so that folks can see you.
Sure. Hi. Buenos dias.
Muy bien. Okay, and then able to see us on your end?
Oh,
There. Yeah. Okay, let us know if you guys can't see us on. Then if we want to do introductions this way.
Sure, I'll start it off again. My name is Greg Snow. I'm the vice chair of this committee. I welcome you all online as well as those that are here present at Operation Safe House. I want to thank them for hosting us for this quarterly hybrid meeting. I'm going to turn it on over now to our chair, Nikki. She'll do introductions, and then the rest of the folks in the room as well as those that are online. We'd love to hear from you.
I'm Nikki DeLong. I work with Olive Crest. I am the chair, so thank you guys. I'm a bit in person, so it feels good to be back. So
Brian Quintos. I work for Oak Grove Center. I am part of the Thrive ILP program. Navigator.
my name is Nina Peppers. I'm City of Riverside, and I'm a lead outreach worker at the Access Center.
Zena, hello, welcome to the space.
Good morning, everyone.
name is Felicia Wilson, and I'm with Equus Workforce Solution. My role there is one operator manager.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gordon Kwong. I am the HMIS lead for HWSC, and I oversee our small but mighty HMIS team that's responsible for tracking all the client services that we provide. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Annabelle Mendoza. I am an administrative service analyst for HSCOC, and I am part of the HRMS team.
Hi, hello, everybody. My name is Hersham. I am an admin assistant, and I'm a part of HWS as well. With me, all of you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marielle. You might know me as Mar. I am the COC coordinator, so helping facilitate and coordinate all the meetings.
Thank you, and shout out to Mar and Gershom our team for really supporting us with our meeting efforts, making sure the material is available to everyone, and just making sure that our in-person and our virtual folks have access to the meeting and all the information. So thank you all, team, for being here and supporting our subcommittee, our amazing chair. And then we know that we have our lovely Operation Safe House in the back. If you all want to do a quick intro, you all are phenomenal.
Riverside. I'm Melissa Torres, Urban Street Outreach Team here in Riverside.
Thank you. And again, we are hosted by Rainbow. I hope that later on she can give you all a little info about Operation Safe House. If you've never been here in person, we highly encourage it. You'll be surprised, one, by the structure. It doesn't look like an congregate shelter for youth. Actually an apartment complex. Can you share that info?
Yeah, it's a apartment complex that, all of the apartments, they
Can
do,
they see it?
of course, have a shared living space. So we do have some Section 8 vouchers that have some of our apartments. So that's why some of our club vouchers are actually accepted in the desert. The one in the desert actually looks very similar. It looks like a modern day apartment complex. It takes away the stigma, as Monique said earlier, about where youth should live, reside, and if they need emergency shelters, where they should go. So it's really cool. Our youth like it. It kind of warm setting. So it's like they're going to RCC, which RCC is right behind us. So it's very normal, I guess, in a sense.
Thank you, Rainbow. And then also, folks, here in the back, this is actually the room where our YAB members felt the most comfortable to create the YAB video that you all have. And so some of our YAB members are in different programs with some of our different service providers, but this is a really nice common space for them. Safe, and we loved being hosted here for our YAB video. So thank you again, Rainbow, for your support. And then I will turn it over to our chair and vice chair.
I think we're going to move into the approval of the minutes from the September 28th, 2023 YAB minutes.
To introduce folks online.
Oh, yeah. Did you want to do that?
Is there anyone who's new to the space online or wants to introduce themselves? I know that we have our HUD TA providers for our YHDP. So super exciting stuff today, folks. Thank you all for joining in person and virtually. If they want to do a quick shout out and introduction, as well as anybody else who's joining us for the first time or rejoining us. If you want to do a quick introduction before you're on our agenda.
Did you say Ree?
Yes.
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hi. I am Rhea Morris. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am mixed and quite white presenting. I am one of your HUD TA alongside my awesome colleague Erin, and a part of your really solid TA team for YHDP this year. I am based out of Spokane, Washington currently, though I was the YAB coordinator for round 1 in Austin. I am a person with lived experience of homelessness, of youth homelessness specifically, and just really, really excited to see how many humans you have in this space doing this work is really very uplifting and inspiring, and super stoked to be getting to do this work with you guys. And I'm going to pass it over to Erin so she can also introduce herself.
Thanks, Ree. It's nice to see everyone. My name is Erin Rutherford. I use she, her pronouns. I identify as white, and I am based out of Louisville, Kentucky. I am alongside Ree providing HUD technical assistance for YHTP. So you will start to see us for probably the next couple of years. So happy to be here and to continue to work with you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Erin. Are there any other folks that want to do quick introductions that are online? Irene, I know I'll help you out if you want to introduce yourself. You're awesome.
Yes, thank you. I'm Irene Capin. I am with Faith in Motion. Thank you.
All right, and then I know that we'll get to meet a lot of our partners during our YHTP CP portion of the agenda. So we'll keep pushing forward. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
All right, getting back to approval of the minutes from September 28th. If there were any recommendations or motion or comments. Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Thank you. So we have approved the minutes from September 28th. Moving into our next section about public comment, and I'm not sure if we had any online questions or comments that had come up. Mario, nothing. Anybody in our audience, or online, anybody have any public comments that they'd like to share?
Latasha, you have your hand up.
I do. I'm sorry. I did not get the names of the folks who motioned and second.
Marler, who moved to motion.
Marler
And Caroline Quintos.
and Caroline Quintos. Thank you, Latasha. Shout out to Latasha. She's taking minutes for our meeting, so thank you so much. And we did not receive any public comments via email. But if anyone has any at this time, folks online, please go ahead and raise your hand or just unmute.
Okay, with that, we're going to move into number 4, our old business. I'm moving into the Yak Yap hybrid meeting location. I know we had taken a vote at the last meeting, and I would have to say I'd have to defer to as to that progress. If we actually elected to continue on with this hybrid meeting in the various locations for all the partners that are with us here today.
Yes, so thank you all who participated in our poll. We did see that for a lot of folks, the hybrid in-person is an awesome way to connect and work with folks, and it's a good way to get us all out of the office. And so we're going to continue to do our hybrid. As you can all tell, October this month, we're having our in-person at Operation Safe House in Riverside, and then we might go dark in January per our COC. That's why we January/February, but folks did vote to meet at the CFLC Empower Youth Opportunities, which is Greg Center over in Hemet, as it is the midway point for a lot of us across the county. Our county is huge, right? We stretch from Corona to Blythe. And so we want to make sure that it's accessible to folks, and that, again, if you are able to, please bring your youth to those meetings, have them attend virtually. And then our YAB members will be at the meeting in person in case we all need to collaborate and network. That'll be a great space as well. Please, again, we encourage you all to attend the in-person ones. It is once every 3 months. Meet, and again, we will have the hybrid option available for folks to join virtually. So we always maximize the participation in the room. So thank you all again.
Thank you, Monique. With that, we're going to move right back to Monique and have a discussion again about the ever-present questions that keep coming up about our youth homeless demonstration program. And I believe Monique's got some pretty good information to share with us today about that.
Thank you. And so, hello, folks. Thank you again for your participation in YHTP. I know that you all put in a lot of work and time meeting with us, giving us data, as well as allowing your youth to participate in all of our YHTP meetings, our YAB meetings, our YAC meetings. And so now we're on into our coordinated community plan. And so our CCP, so for the next 6 months, and again, I appreciate that our TA providers from HUD are on. right, I will look to them for any questions and support as we go along. So if folks have any questions, please, this is to be a dialogue and a conversation about YHGP, so we all understand what our steps are and what our CCP consists of. Again, we will try to take some time to look at the YHGP application. I know that it is a lot of information, but if we can start plugging in partners, right, key partners, folks interested in joining, I think that's where we'll start. And then we'll kind of get what we need to work on for the next few months. And then we'll start diving to the nitty gritty during weekly meetings, which will identify those folks that are interested, have time to attend the weekly meetings as well. So again, the purpose of these funds is to support youth, as we know, right, as providers. We've discussed on these meetings, right, we've discussed with youth clients in our groups, right, what are the needs, what do young folks experience homeless. Go ahead, Kim. Did you have a question? Okay. Okay. So
Monique?
again, yes.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. This is Ree. On my screen, it's showing me still just slide 1, and I don't know if have y'all like moved forward in your slide deck, and if so, what slide are you on?
Oh, we're
I show you're on
business
11.
4.1.
Yeah, we're on.
Yes, I
Okay,
see
we're on-
11 as well.
You
I'm
said 11?
seeing-
Okay,
I'm
I just
still
wanted to
seeing
make
the-
sure.
I'm still seeing the first slide as well. Or slide
Oh,
4, I think.
Okay, let us try to oh god, let
So
us
hey, hold on, before
try
it gets stressful,
to.
Monique,
Thank you,
are
Ray.
you- just no, really quickly though, just this might help so that we don't have to take too much time on it. If you are online and on Teams, at the bottom of the screen, it shows the arrows. It'll say like slide 1 of 57. And so you are able to control what slide you're on. So Monique, if you can just like let us know, like, hey, we're on slide 11, then we can get to slide 11 and we'll move our decks along so that y'all don't have to worry about trying to figure that out right now. I know we've got a short time.
Will do. Thank you,
Wow,
Ray. We
thanks for that
appreciate
fun
it.
fact.
So,
Yeah.
so we are on slide 11 of 57. What is the coordinated community plan? As we're talking about the plan again, right, our hope is that we'll be able to go components of all of the items that we need to submit for CCP with our CCP, and making sure that, right, we are engaging our youth and that they are really driving this effort and making those decisions. So again, right, bringing those youth that you're working with that need to get to a space, you know, where they can feel heard, and right, they're making this change. And so even if they weren't in our YAB video and they're not a part of YAB yet, again, we are encouraging that, you know, you bring all of the youth for this effort, right, and beyond this effort, right, is to also make sure that are driving our system change, right, and continue to identify what's working and what's not working. So again, we really hope to gain all of your participation, and I know that time is of the essence, but if you can get your time for this, that would be phenomenal. And I know that we're already working closely with a lot of you, so please, if you're not connected, get connected with us after this meeting. Next slide. Components of the CCP. These are just the items that we're going to start working through. Then will be during this overall youth advisory committee meeting, and then other items will be worked through during weekly meetings with our HUD TA providers. And then if folks additional time, right, there's always room to create a meeting to discuss any of these items. Or if folks have, you know, things that they want to submit and add, we're going to send a poll once we've identified what we wrote in our application, right? So at some point we'll look at our YHGP application, and we'll look at the Google Drive. So I know that's another item on the agenda, and then I'll show you all where all the YHGP information is so that you can all reference it and always have that available. We'll have partners as well that we're working with on there as well. And so today to really identify the list of partners who are essential, folks that submitted letters of support to us for YHGP, all of the folks working with youth on a daily basis, all of our key agencies that are supporting youth experiencing homelessness, right, as well as family youth, parenting youth, all of our subpopulations as well. These are the overall needs, right? We're going to need a statement of need, right? What does our community and our youth need? List of partners, right, which is all of our youth advisory committee, our governance structure, our and vision. And a lot of this is in our YHDP application. So we're going to extract that and then continue to add, right, while we're allowing our youth and our YAB members to really lead what it is that is written in our application. And then we also need to come up with a list of goals, objectives, and action steps, which we can do together. And then new project lists, which I know everyone's really excited about. Right, what are we going to do with these funds? And then our signatures. Go on to the next slide. We're just going to go over some key components, and then if our TA has anything to add. It was a lot of slides and a lot of information, and I don't want to overwhelm everyone. So we'll work through just thinking about the overall key components and then starting to think about some of the more particular items. We wanted to include this slide. This is really focusing on our statement of need. And so, right, I know that we collected a lot of this information during the YHDP application, but if you participated in any of these areas and or if you have information and data that you collect in any of these areas, please, we want to go ahead and know that and then include you in the meeting, start looking at that data that you have. Again, this is the population of youth that we're trying to support, and then the description of need for at-risk youth experiencing homelessness. So, and if you are in an education sector, we definitely want to continue to partner with you, make our collaboration stronger so that we understand that youth data for students and families. But we also want to know, right, are you in any of these other sectors where you collect data and or can start working with our team to identify gaps, right, that youth, right, might be saying, hey, we need these resources, you know, we come into these centers, we ask for, you know, the same needs. How do we collect that and then start working through a gaps and of those needs? Next slide. The statement of need, again, it's the population of focus, right? So we know that in our YHDP, we wanted to focus in areas that, right, had a high population of homeless youth residing, as well as a high need for all our BIPOC youth, right? We know that there's very limited tailored resources, tailored shelter programming for them. And so we want to make sure that they are a priority as we're working through projects, right, that will address their needs that currently don't address their needs. Also in areas that we're currently not addressing, right? Some of those being Hemet and San Jacinto, which we did write a statement of intent that those are the areas that we will focus on since they are high need and have very limited resources. And Greg, did you want to add anything in terms of, right, our subpopulations, our areas of need? I know that you work in an area of high need, right? Anything that you've noticed that we can start thinking about as we identify, right, youth, their needs, and then how we plan to fill that?
Just historically, what we've experienced in the valley there, because it's so far reaching, and we are, 16 miles from the nearest freeway, and a lot of the services that are available in some of the other neighborhoods that are served. But the biggest part of it is, I think, is their education and lack of the employment resources and opportunities. It's something that we've been focusing on for a number of years, and it continues to be a challenge for all of the youth that are out. And again, in a lot of the communities, I think we're blessed by being selected, for that, for the valley to happen. Because again, it is a large valley, ever reaching, definitely has underserved, but we hope to rectify that with some of these funds that are beginning to be coming out to the community.
I don't know if I can chime in.
Yeah, can you introduce yourself?
Sure, Tanya Torno. I'm the Deputy Director at Housing and Workforce Solutions. And so I have the privilege of working with Monique and overseeing our homeless continuum of care. As you were talking, as actually both of you were talking around the needs, I think one thing that I wanted to share is that, we've been trying to expand the number of youth providers in Riverside County. And I think the biggest challenge, we were just meeting with a nonprofit here this week on Monday, who's very interested in building out a transitional housing project. And so when we look at the youth are being engaged by our street outreach teams,
the three top barriers, as you guys know, is definitely around behavioral health. So high uses of substance use and, issues around trauma, and, struggling with, those challenges, right, carry out into the physical, into where they're harming themselves. So I bring that up all to say that when we have these discussions, oftentimes, right, the response we get is, in order to be able to serve that population, there's going to need to be a very close to behavioral health services. And so we agree, and I think it's really important that as we go on this journey, that we really think about how we can make sure to build out programs that include strong bridges with our county behavioral health department, but also, housing providers begin to look at how do we bring in people that have the skills to work who have these challenges within our own system of care, so that a substance use counselor is available on site or a clinician is available on site to kind of help support those who are, in the process of recovery. Because I think oftentimes those services are sort of considered off-site, and we try to, then you have the challenge of trying to coordinate transportation. But how you keep a user housed, right? Nonetheless, get them to an appointment. And I think it's really going to require us to think differently about integrating those services wherever the youth is placed. So I just wanted us to kind of keep that in mind, because I think that's the challenge. We house youth, and currently under our system, we're putting them into private rental units that they really need those wraparound services there where they're being placed.
I would agree. It's something that we're continually looking at in terms of the youth centers that are operated here in Riverside County between Equus Workforce Solutions and CFLC. Continually looking for these resources. At CFLC, we've got the Opportunity Homes RTP program. So our young ladies that are in there are continually experiencing a lot of the things that you've been sharing with us, Tanya. And then even in the centers, we cross boundary paths, whatever you want to call it, between the 6 centers, and being able to pull from those strengths and being able to offer a lot more solutions for our young people. And make it extremely important. Transportation probably being one of the biggest ones. The ones that are housed, and then housing itself is just, it's tremendous. With our Youth Build program, I got a lot of very deep at-risk youth right now that are continually seeking those types of services. And again, they're few and far between, but we rely on a lot of the people in this room here to help provide some of those solutions, whether or not they be temporary or long-term. So.
And then do we want to go to the chat? I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, we got some hands there.
We do. Go ahead, Kim.
I did want to say I really have my hand up this time. I wanted to say that we should include our community colleges in this. We just completed the Real College Survey, and about 2 out of 3 college students is going to have a basic need, and that includes housing. We know that Riverside Community College is going to be a part of that larger unit that's going to come up in Riverside. But if you look at Moreno Valley and Norco, our students aren't receiving those same services, and they aren't generally able to stay in the area of their school. So we, the other 2 colleges would very much like to be included in any of the rapid rehousing programs, or also be considered as a site to provide services for students, because every day I help a student who has a housing need. And I try and address that with the services that, or the service providers in our area. But our college also sets aside a small amount of money to be able to provide immediate housing in terms of hotels, but it's just a huge expense. And we'd like to be able to partner with the county to continue these services once our COVID funds, which are almost gone, are totally gone. So that was my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. And we'll make sure to, as we start to build out our partner list of folks that we need to invite to meetings, if you have specific contacts at the colleges that I have a few of them that we'll go ahead and include. But if there's anyone in particular that has had a conversation with you around this, please go ahead and connect them to us via email, or if we send you the invites for meetings, please go ahead and forward those to the appropriate partners, and we'll just make sure that we add them to our Excel spreadsheet. And we will provide that spreadsheet in our drive if everyone is okay with it, so that folks know who our partners are within YHTP, but also right in what sectors can they provide supportive services in, which will go hand in hand with our resource directory that we'll continue to build out. Thank you so much, Kim. Oh, and then maybe I'll connect you to Gordon afterward. I know that there was a question about CES. We'll go into CES later in the agenda to really address that need for additional providers that would like to be able to enter their clients. We'll have a discussion around that later on. Thank you, Kim. Go ahead, Michelle, and then Ree.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I have a couple of things to kind of piggyback on what Tanya was saying. As providers, foster care youth providers, Nikki and I probably share this same sentiment. One of the challenges that we have and limitations that we have is exactly what Tanya is speaking about in terms of mental wellness. A lot of times we cannot serve the higher risk populations because, like Tanya was stating, we don't serve in a capacity of mental wellness, and our staff has kind of some limited experiences and skill sets, but we're not mental wellness providers. So I think that addressing that need is probably one of the biggest needs. I think that's the population that there's a gap in services for and housing for. And then on the slide 13, number 2, letter D, the social and emotional well-being, that's a pretty broad descriptor. I would ask that we maybe flesh that out a little more. I know that probably has a lot to do with mental wellness, but I think it's pretty broad, and we probably need to flesh that descriptor out a little more to see what services or case management is needed around that. The NMD housing providers do offer a lot of case management around all 4 of those areas. So I would ask that the committee consider how you can utilize what's already in place to add to what this funding is going to go to in terms of case management.
Thank you, Michelle. And you referenced a slide or a bullet point. Can you repeat that so that we can look at it?
Yes, it was slide 13. So it's the statement of need HUD threshold requirements, and it's number 2.
Got it.
And
Unaccompanied.
yeah.
Oh, number 2.
So all the current housing providers that service the foster youth, we all provide case management in that space. And so that's why I would ask that there's some consideration of how we can all partner to provide that component.
Yeah, and when I go through the provider vacancy list, I will definitely back you up on your comments, Michelle, because we've got plenty of open positions.
Got it.
We've got tons of openings. It's just a lot of the youth.
Yeah.
We're putting in a regular apartment, and I'll just be raw and real here. I've got like one apartment, I've got 8 units. If one youth is imploding, if I do not terminate that youth out of the program and they choose to close my lease, they're closing every one of my 8 leases because they're all associated with my name. So sometimes, unfortunately, even if I don't deem even if I deem I want to continue to work with this youth, I've got to cut one to save the other 15.
Right.
And then unfortunate.
Yeah.
One of the other challenges that Nikki and I face is that a lot of the properties in various communities are no longer taking corporate leases. And we just found out yesterday that one of our larger properties is no longer taking corporate leases. So we face that challenge as well. Tanya, can you put your contact information in the chat? It's no longer stored in my system, I guess, because I haven't emailed you in a long time.
But yeah, if we could partner for some additional case management, I'll throw out some numbers here about vacancies that just happen. It's just gonna flow to you because it's the amount of vacancies is nuts.
Yeah, and what we can do is during that part of the agenda, and following with our CES updates as well, is working with our CES, our HMIS, seeing how do we fill vacancies, and then continue to partner, right, to collaborate on, right, how do we find more space for youth? And I'm really interested to see what Ree wants to add, especially having seen this slide, Michelle, that you brought up. And so Ree, if you have any other feedback, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, actually, thank you. I do want to hop in. So I'm gonna name a couple of things here. One, this deck, Monique, that you have, this is actually a training that the ICF, the TA team that Aaron and I are part of. This is a training that we do a full come into the community and walk you through each of these steps, either through like a virtual training, things like that. We use this as a means to identify who needs to be in the core team meetings that are, so right now, y'all are a little bit ahead of where we actually are in the process, right? You are naming really good and awesome things that we want to make sure get included. And this what you're doing is the work of that weekly core team meeting, right? So these things that you're bringing, and I'm glad that they're getting captured in notes because it's super important. But I do want to just uplift that, like, this tool with Monique is a training, and if it is something that your community wants, it is something that we can come in and do, like, provide and walk through each of these things, what they mean, how they interact in the coordinated community plan as a whole. So I want to say that first, right? Like, as we're in the room today looking over these things, we want to be thinking about who in this room has the ability to commit to a weekly meeting that would be your kind of core planning team that may have some like subcommittee, like maybe someone's going to take the statement of need and you've got your HMIS group and you've got people with the data, the clean data quality, right, to come together and identify, we know like these areas, this population, all of the stuff that you're naming right now, because that all needs to be a part of your statement of need. So as we move through this today, we want to be really thinking through, asking you all to think through what is your capacity. I think it's incredible, and I want to uplift that it's amazing. We've heard both from community colleges and from Department of Family Services. That's a big deal. Like, getting that cross-system partnership is like a really has traditionally and historically can be a struggle in YHDP. So it's amazing that y'all are here, and I would really encourage those of you from other systems that if it's not you directly, someone from your team that can be a part of that core team planning, just to ensure that we're covering all of these pieces. So that's the first thing that I want to name. The second thing that I would just want to uplift, and you will hear this come out of my mouth a lot, is that what I'm hearing in this room today is a lot of older adult partners saying, we need this, our plan is this is what we want to do. And I want to really, really name that YHDP is transformative because the youth lead the design. And so it's important that we get the full picture, right? We will do, as part of your TA package that you receive with YHDP, we will be doing like community mapping, which is kind of what y'all are already starting to do right now. But we'll have like very intentional spaces to do that. That's part of what that weekly meeting is about. And then there was something else. Oh, but yeah, I really want to highlight that, like, we want to be mindful when we're saying, like, we know we need this area, that we need to, like, I'm not sure if there are YAB members here because I can't fully hear everything going on in that room. But we do need to ensure that, like, when we are having these conversations about what y'all are designing for the new projects, right, that you have youth and young adults informing that process. Obviously, we want everyone's expertise, right? And y'all know how things are working on the back end and the struggles, particularly around like the mental health connection with mental wellness services and things like that. But I do want us to be mindful that I've heard a lot of older adult partners saying we need this and we need that. And I haven't necessarily heard anything yet from youth partners. And so just keeping that as in mind, like, part of what makes this like transformative is that it really is new and innovative because it's coming from your internal systems experts, which are the youth and young adults who have gone through this program and can help identify those gaps and what next things can be. That was a lot. So I'm open to any feedback from that, but just, as we're going through this, we will come in and do a really deep dive training on this with y'all. And we just today need to identify who's going to be able to make what level of commitment so that we can start having these deeper conversations that shape the work, if that makes sense.
It does. Michelle, did you have a question?
Just real quick, thank you for the clarification, and just one more form of clarification. You mentioned adult partners. What age range are you speaking about? Because I know that it said 24 and under, and our non-minor dependents are 18 to 21. So I just wanted to add that to clarify that we are serving the TAY population.
Absolutely, yeah. So when I say older adult partner, what I'm saying is all of us in this room, and you could be within the range of TAY, but if you work in the system, like if you are a system partner that is working in the system, when we say older adult partner, we are referring to like all of us in the space that are not YAB members. So YAB members and youth, young adult partners, right, are going to be the youth and young adults working in this space that are youth and young adults with lived experience of homelessness that are working specifically around the youth action board space and the design and implementation. You will hear me say older adult partner a lot. So I appreciate the clarifying question, Michelle. When I am saying that, I am speaking to like the systems level partners that are the quote unquote older adults, right? Because we want to be sure that youth and young adults are that's the part of that. And some of the training you'll get from TCU is around like anti-adultism. It's really important that we recognize that the young people that we walk alongside are young adults. And so it used to be they would say adult partners and everybody would be like, oh yeah, adult partners. Our young adult partners are also adult partners. So that's the distinction, right? Is older adult partners like system level partner.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ree. Does anyone else have anything online or in person? Okay. And thank you for clarifying that, Ree, that we're going to do deeper trainings with members. And again, folks, I feel pretty good. We have really good, strong TA providers that are really here to support us in the CCP planning, but also in making sure that youth are driving our efforts. And so if you are interested in joining as an invested partner and really being a part of how we're going to create the CCP, implement all of the needs for our youth, and also bringing your youth from your groups and or making them a part of YAB. Please go ahead and enter your, if you're comfortable with it, enter your email in the chat, your name, email, agency, and title. If not, you can also email us or you can add it to the Excel sheet that's in the Google Drive, which we'll share later on as well. And we can start creating an email distribution list that will include all of our YHDP partners. So you can really come to the weekly meetings, bring your youth members in your agency or your youth clients that are interested in participating, and then kind of be in community with us on a weekly basis for YHDP. And again, this is just to help drive all of our key partners that we need at the table. And a lot of you all already attend our Youth Advisory Committee meetings. So again, if that's the commitment that you can make, please let us know, our monthly YAC meetings, and then what sector, you're representing so that we can make sure that we have equitable representation from all of our youth and partners in every sector.
Monique, can I pop in one more time? Sorry.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. If y'all are bringing two things, one, and this will be one of the offerings again, is that anti-adultism training. One of the pillars of YHDP is around equity, right? And so one thing I just want to say, it seems like a small thing, but I promise you it really isn't. When we talk about youth and young adult partners, being careful not to use that language of like your youth, this is my youth, because it conveys a sense of ownership that kind of takes that ownership away from the youth and young adult that you are walking alongside in this process, right? And so just, I know seems like a silly thing, but it does, how we speak makes a difference. Like if you knew the number of communities I've had to go into and say, please stop calling them kids, right? Oh, my kids, right? Like, but it is about showing and honoring that like wholeness of the youth and young adults that we are working with as full partners with us. So that's one thing that's very small. The only other thing is, if you do have youth and young adults, if you are working alongside youth and young adults that you are hoping will come to these tables, it is imperative that they are compensated for every single hour that they are involved in this work. Every meeting they show up to, every like pre-game, if we're going to go through the documents together and talk through what that looks like, what are we coming into this meeting to talk about, ensuring the youth and young adults you're working with are prepared to walk into these spaces. It is like in there, like not compensating youth will halt the work entirely. So I want to just kind of give you guys that heads up right now that it is very important. If you don't know, if you don't have a means of doing that or aren't sure how to do that, like as agency specific, feel free to reach out to me. That's one of my like things I'm super good at helping do is designing and working through budgeting, compensation policy and things like that. But we cannot ask youth and young adults to come do this work and do it because they what happens is we exploit their passion, and it is an unkind thing. I've been to many conferences, like the Points for Youth conferences, where you hear youth and young adults talk about, y'all know how much we care about this work because we don't want to see people go through what we went through. And oftentimes, unintentionally, older adult partners will exploit that. And this TA team specifically, we know historically that not compensating youth will halt the work entirely. So if you don't have a plan in place for a way to do that, reach out, hit us up. We'll work something out. We'll help you try to figure that out. But it is imperative that you are not bringing youth and young adults to this space that are not being paid for the time that they're using, that they're here for their expertise. I know it's scary. I know it is.
Thank you.
I had to do that, but yeah, we got you.
Thank you. Those are two really good points. Our youth partners and our compensation for youth partners. And again, folks, if you are interested in furthering that discussion, please let us know, and we can get another group together, maybe with our TA providers as well, and go over compensation for our youth partners. Thank you. Michelle, go ahead.
I just need my own clarification. So are the youth partners different from the youth board members? Are they two different sets of folks?
I think they can be. If you've got youth partners you work with who are not on your YAB but want to be involved in the work, they can be two separate groups sometimes. I think that's a community. I think, yeah, Monique, I might have cut you off right there. I apologize.
No, you're okay. Yes, so our YAB is our Youth Action Board, and we do want to expand our Youth Action Board, and so our YAB members are definitely involved in YHTP. One avenue is if your agency provides compensation to youth partners for attending meetings or being involved in anything that your agency supports them in. That's one way, and then another way is making sure that they're connected to our YAB and that they join as YAB members, and then they get compensated through our Youth Action Board.
Sounds like, this is Tanya again, and it sounds like there might be a greater opportunity as we begin to work on the CCP for youth who even just want to be involved sort of on that part of the process, that we could create some kind of program or process so that they could be reimbursed for their time. So I think we can maybe, talk internally to look at, what does that look like? How do we make that arrangement? Because I can see some individuals, some youth wanting to be a part of the Youth Action Board. And as Monique said, some youth are, active within your agencies, but then also just with YHDP wanting to help us advance and coordinate the CCP. Sort of separately, or maybe sort of this extra work. And so I think we could look at creating some type of reimbursement, incentive for them.
And we're trying to work with workforce development, right, to be able to bring in that workforce component so that our youth partners that are interested and are working with your agencies, with our YAB, with YHTP, are able to be a part of a workforce development team of youth interns, right, who get compensated that way as well for whatever time they're able to put in and give us in terms of attending meetings, their participation, right? We want to make sure that they are a part of something larger as well. So plugging them in wherever they're interested. So if you have youth partners that we need to connect, Michelle, maybe we can have a meeting as well, or in one of our weekly meetings, bring those youth partners, see what are their thoughts and opinions, right, as well, making sure that they feel that compensation is equitable, meeting times are available to them and they're able to participate. So just making sure that, right, everything that we're doing really does allow for very minimal barriers for our youth partners. Thank you, Michelle, for bringing that up. I hope that helps to clarify. And so, as mentioned in our Google Drive, there is a folder for YHTP and YHTP items. We will continue to work through. Again, this is just a general overview. Our goal today is to really create our list of partners in each sector, as well as building out our youth partners and making sure that they know what information is available and that it works with their schedules and that they are getting compensated. Again, our mission and our vision for YHTP is also a part of one of the items that we will be working on. So again, just information for folks to start thinking about as we continue to work through our CCP. And then yeah, so this is what we're discussing, right, is who are our system partners, who are our community partners, who are our youth partners outside of our youth action board, and making sure that we do have, right, our child welfare system involved, if that's where our gaps are, right, as well as our YOCs, right, our youth opportunity centers, if that's where our gaps are, and then meeting youth where they're at, right, whatever agency they're at, whatever time they're available, but also taking into account where they're at in terms of their homelessness, right, or their housing instability, and taking that into consideration when we're asking them to join meetings or be a part of, right, items that might be triggering for them, or right, providing trauma-informed care trainings also to our youth partners so that they understand what it is that they're feeling during meetings or during certain discussions. So we want to be mindful of that as well, but definitely working on building out our planning team for YHTP. So again, if you are interested, please put your name, title, agency, and email in the chat, or you can email me directly, or you can add your information on the Google Drive under the Excel sheet that we have for YHTP partners. And then what would the planning team do? Yeah, yeah.
It just because we do have an ideal set time already to do this. So I think maybe naming that just so people know if they're interested, that at the and this is open and flexible to be changed. But at the moment, the time that we know works best for the whole TA team is going, because your TA team is across multiple. I think I'm one of only 2 on the team that are in the West Coast time zone. And so we are looking at these meetings would be happening on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so I think just like putting that out there too, as you're considering if you want to be a part of that core team. And if enough of you want to be a part of that core team but can't make that time, we can absolutely revisit rescheduling or figuring out scheduling. But just so you're aware that at the moment, the anticipated meeting would be Wednesdays at 10 o'clock in the morning for an hour.
Yeah. We can we can maybe do a poll to identify a date and time that might work best. But as of now, if anyone is available to attend those Wednesday meetings at 10 a.m., please let us know so we can forward that invite. And then we will take a poll. I'll try to do that by today and get a time before maybe next Wednesday. Thank you, Ray, for bringing that up.
Thank you.
And so these are just additional items, as you heard, right? Some of the tasks and roles and responsibilities for our adult and youth partners during YHGP and planning meetings will be, right, identifying gaps, looking at data. What does the data show in terms of our gaps? Also hearing from our youth partners, what is the current experience on housing instability and what is the current need? What communities are they facing challenges and barriers in, right? What linkages do we need to make that we're not right aware of or not making at the moment, but also, right, how do we want to utilize these funds? What is the highest need and what can make the biggest impact, right, and be the most efficient and support the most youth? And we know that housing is huge and it's our main priority. And so just looking at all the things, right, the wraparound services, the mental health component, I think is going to be huge. And we want to learn from our partners and our agencies that are currently doing a lot of this great work, right? So having Twanisha, right, maybe share with our group one day, what does your one-stop shop look like, right? What do you feel are the most beneficial there? And do our youth partners that attend that center, right, have additional items that they want to bring to our table, right, in terms of what is working, what does that model look like and feel like to them, right? And we want to learn more about Operation Safe House and how they have an apartment style complex for youth, right? Even though there is a shelter program, it doesn't look like a typical shelter program, right? And then working with child welfare to see how do we bridge folks when they turn 18 and exit the system, and also when they turn 21 and exit our system, right? Are we bridging them into housing and mental health services there as well? So those are going to be huge to think about as we go through this. So again, if you are interested, please let us know and we will take a poll. Go
Do
ahead.
you want me to get Cynthia Powell and Tara
That would be
involved in
amazing.
these, please?
Yes, yes, if they're representing child welfare.
Cynthia's welfare, Tara's probation.
Yes.
Okay.
Nikki, you're on it. And then folks, if you all have additional partners as well that you know of, that would be amazing in this space that we are already currently collaborating with, please invite them and let them know that we have a core planning team if they would like to join. And then switching gears here real quick, if Jasmine is on, Jasmine, if you're on still, and if you're ready, we can change the slides for you. We'll go into our resource presentation portion. Right, Glenn?
Yeah, that's the next step of new business, Department of Rehabilitation. Jasmine Medina, again, if she is on, I've been working with her for a number of years with DOR, along with several other staff there for our youth that we are servicing through DOR. Jasmine there?
Okay, we'll move on in the agenda and then come back to her.
All right, and we can do that. The next business was a presentation from Cup of Happy. And I believe we were informed earlier that Nicole could not make it. And that is from here at Operation Safe House. And I don't know if anybody, Rainbow.
All right, can you
if
guys hear me
anybody
now?
could speak. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
There we go,
Jasmine.
there's Nicole. Huh.
Or is it Jasmine or Nicole?
Testing. Can you all hear me?
It's Jasmine.
Is this Jasmine?
Jasmine, can you hear us?
Okay, perfect. And then I don't know if you guys, oh yes, I see the slides on there. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Medina. I am with the Department of Rehabilitation. And I specifically am part of the student services team. So I'm just here to talk about, be another resource for our students ages 16 to 21 and to talk about some of the stuff that we can offer with the Department of Rehabilitation. And I do have my other colleague on here, but she's just going to be a fly on the wall. If you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me or put them in the chat and I'll.
No. Is Jasmine's colleague on?
You sign off for she meeting?
Yes, I'm on.
Are you in the same room as Jasmine?
I am not.
Okay, sorry, just wondering to
Let
see
me see if I
she
get my
can-
camera on.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Oh,
You're
So,
back.
so I'm not sure what's going on with Jasmine's internet. I think it's a little spotty.
Yeah.
But if you want, we can either wait for her or I can do the presentation for her.
Jasmine, are you on? I think we see her on, right? Yeah, she's here in the corner.
No, that's.
Is this Catherine?
Yes. So I'm
Yeah.
getting messages from Jasmine and saying that she was kicked off and it's not letting her get back into the meeting.
It could just be the energy to say from her. Yeah. So if she can present.
Catherine, if you want to maybe start the presentation and then if she's able to jump back on, you all are able to switch, if that's more efficient.
That's fine. I'm happy to do it.
Thank you. Thank
Uh,
you.
So good morning / good afternoon. My name is Catherine Conley. I'm with the Department of Rehabilitation. I am one of the many student services counselor within the Department of Rehabilitation. And today's presentation, we're going to be talking to you about student services within the Inland Empire. So Department of Rehabilitation is a state organization that works with individuals with disabilities of all kinds. And what we aim to do is we aim to try to give them the tools and the resources so they can advocate for themselves, they can live a happier life in the community, and overall make the right decisions for them, because overall they're the ones who are going to make those decisions and then move forward with them. The Department of Rehabilitation also assists with vocational counseling, rehabilitation services towards employment, transition services, technology services, and independent living services. So with the Department of Rehabilitation, we believe in the talent of individuals with disabilities. We believe in they're the investment through creativity, innovation, and ingenuity. We ensure our decisions and actions are informed by the individual's interests, and we want to try to think outside of the box. So we want to be as creative as possible. And if you guys want, you guys can scan our QR code. It is a live QR code. It takes you to the DOR website where it'll show you all of the fun facts that we're doing, how many people with the disabilities we're working with, how many cases that we have open, how many community partners we have, and a bunch of other services. Next slide. Okay, so who can receive services? So DOR currently has 2 sets of programs. This program is mostly focused on students. We do have another program that focuses on adults. But for the student one, there's only 3 criteria that you need to meet. You need to be at least 16, but no older than 21, enrolled in educational programs, as long as it's a recognized program within California. And then there needs to be a documented disability. So most disabilities are documented through like an IEP or a 504, but those aren't the only two forms of eligibility. It can be documented through maybe they're seeing someone for a mental health, or maybe they're seeing an orthopedic specialist, or maybe they're seeing a therapist. As long as there's verification that they are being seen for some type of disability, they will be eligible. And I see that there is a question.
Go ahead, Kim.
Oh, she says.
Oh, okay, no question. So these are the 3 criteria, but let's say you age out and you turn 21, you're no longer eligible. Then what we can do is we can talk to you about our second set of services. So don't just think just when this one ends, we do have another set as well. Next slide. So within DOR Student Services, there are 5 core services that we provide, and those services are based on pre-planning transition services, such as job exploration counseling, work-based learning experiences, post-secondary counseling, work readiness training, and self-advocacy. Now, the students may not need all 5, but we go over all 5 of them, and it's per their choice on which ones they find that are more valuable or which one they find the most need in. But the one that most of our students really gravitate towards is the work-based learning experience, because they can get paid to go to work.
Thank you, Catherine. I am back on. My internet went out on me at home. I had to restart quickly. And if you want, I can take over from here.
You got it, Jasmine.
All right.
I'll
Thank you
just
so
be here.
much. All right. So thank you again, Catherine, for covering for me. And this is what we do all the time. So we have each other's back. So as we move forward, you can click on the next slide, and we're going to go into details into each of the core services. So the first one is job exploration. So this is just giving those students that opportunity to really, really figure out what they want to do. We know we have students who say, I don't know what I want to do, or I have 5 ideas and I'm not too sure. So with that job exploration, it really gives the time for them to narrow down and to research, what are the trending jobs? What are the different paths that they need to take? So this really helps too. So for example, I've had students who've told me, well, I'm going to be an engineer, but I'm not going to school. Okay, so let's look into that. And I think most of the time it's coming from, senioritis. That is very real. We've all gone through it, whether that was in high school, in college. So we have that open, conversation with them saying, you know what, I know you want to be an engineer, and maybe we're going to take a little break from school, but according to this, we do need to do some education. So this gives them that understanding of the different type of steps that they're going to need to take. We'll also look at the in-demand jobs. We really want to find employment that's going to be increasing. We want our students to be successful. We don't want to set them up for failure. So we are always trying to look at different paths for them. And then next slide is going to be our work-based learning experiences. So this offers a variety of ways for students to connect with local professionals, get real-world work experience. So this can look like job shadowing, mentorship. Maybe we have a student that is interested in working with animals. And so maybe we're going to partner them with our local vet or our pet store so they can kind of see, or a sanctuary to kind of see what it really takes. Because sometimes they'll think, oh, just working with pets, I get to play with them and cuddle and hang out. No, we still got to care for them. We got to clean. We got to do all of this stuff. So that's going to be helpful so they can get that better understanding as well. Informational interviews where they have that chance to speak to either a small company, a big company, or a person that has been in that same field. That way they can get a better understanding as well. And with that work-based learning experiences, that's something where we offer our paid work experiences. So it gives those students that opportunity to actually have employment. It is basically, it's like a contract between us. They can do up to 300 hours of a paid work experience. It's going to be at an actual site. So an example can be they're working at Walgreens. And the best part, especially for the employer, is Walgreens isn't paying the student, DOR is. So it's really coming out of our budget. And essentially, this is the best way we promote it, and it helps some companies understand they are getting free labor as internships, but we're paying. But we still need them to take it serious. So they need a supervisor. They need someone that's going to be, giving them daily tasks and giving us reports, because it is a real job. And the best part is they do get paid California minimum wage. The money goes directly to them. And they get to add this onto their resume. And that's usually the biggest stepping stone for students. I always like to give the example of, it's good to have a good customer service job because it shows a lot of new skills that you've learned. So that would be part of our work-based learning experiences. Our next one is going to be post-secondary counseling. Thank you. So helping students learn about different post-secondary educational programs. So we will explore, and this kind of goes hand in hand with that job exploration. So for that student who said, I'm going to be an engineer, but I'm not going to school, oh, okay, so maybe let's look at different types of education programs. The traditional versus non-traditional, traditional going to community college, a Cal State or UC, or non-traditional really focusing on those occupational training programs. Another good example would be students who, well, I want to do culinary school, but I don't want to go to community college. I don't want to be there for 4 years or 2 years and then transfer out. I would rather just do a program that's going to be focused on that. Some other examples would be like welding, phlebotomy, those kind of programs. And sometimes that's beneficial for our students. We know it just has to be direct focus on the career path they have. Assisting with FAFSA, shout out to all of the high school teachers and educators. I know now it's mandated that they do this with the students, but it's very helpful. And counselors ourselves, we support our students with that, especially assisting the parents. We know it's overwhelming. I've had to go through it. I didn't have anyone helping me. So now that I'm able to get all my resources and help our students and parents, that's what we do as well. And then on this next one is college process. Oh, sorry, go back one more. Connecting our students with the accommodation centers or the disability centers at our local colleges. That's really important. I know sometimes students and parents get confused of, will I ever get accommodations again after high school? Yes, we know the IEP officially ends when they graduate, but I like to tell them that's your golden ticket. Bring that to college, bring that to the occupational training program, the trade school, so we can continue some of those accommodations. And most of our students don't realize this, that they have that in place. So we support them with that as well. And then our fourth one, next slide, please, is our workplace readiness training. So preparing our students prior to that employment, that mock interview, dressing for success, your resume, your cover letter, understanding that there is a difference of how you're speaking, your appearance compared to hanging out with friends, going to the movies, versus going into employment. So we kind of go through that as well. And then the last one, which I always think is our biggest one, is self-advocacy. I think, can you switch it? Yeah, did a switch. So self-advocacy. So really giving those skills for our students to learn how to speak up for themselves. We know that they do this in their IEP with the support of parents and guardians, case carriers, all of that. But as they become young adults, and they're going to have to start speaking up for themselves. So whether that's still going to be in the education setting or in the employment setting, requesting those accommodations, and all of this really helps build their confidence. They know how to do it. Or if they're still needing some guidance, they're able to reach out not only to us as counselors, but to the parents, guardians, case carriers, all of you on this call, if you're supporting them, part of their advocate team. And so that's our 5 core services, and just an example of how we provide these services. Typically, we like to do it in the classroom setting. The more students, the better. It keeps them engaged. And if not, we do meet on a one-on-one basis. I will speak for myself. Every counselor is different on here. We are a mobile team, but I like going out into the community. I will do Zoom calls with a few students, or maybe just meeting one-on-one with them. There has been a few times I meet weekly with the student, and we're just having a 15-minute Zoom call just so they can get comfortable with me. We can start discussing things. And it really goes, the biggest thing here, it goes at the student's pace. We know that parents, guardians are always supporting, but if I have a student that's going at a slower pace, 15 miles per hour, but the parent is going 50, I'm going to go 15 miles per hour with the student. I don't want to overwhelm them. I don't want to push them too hard. And this is what I always tell parents too, as much as you're pushing, especially when they're seniors, and if they don't want anything to do with me after they graduate, a month later, they usually come back because they just need that break, which we all understand too. We need those breaks. We need those mental health breaks. We need our education break, work break. It's all a good balance. So that's why I like to say self-advocacy is that biggest one, because at that point they are using their voice to say, hey, Jasmine, I'm not ready for this right now. I will come back in a month. I'll come back in 2 months. It's very, very common. And the best part, they're still able to do that as long as they're in that education setting. So the next slide, please. And so our referral process, our signing up process has become really, really easy. I love this. We're trying to get away from the paperwork. But if you do scan that QR code, it takes you directly to our student service online portal. This is where we ask our students to fill out all the information possible. I think it's about 3 pages. The first one is demographics, name, first name, birthday. Second one typically asks the parent or conservator information. Third page is where they ask for the address and the school address of where they're attending. That one is really, really important for us. I don't know if Catherine mentioned it earlier, or you guys heard me prior, but we are all over the place when it comes to the Inland Empire District. So if we know that they were going to Moreno Valley High School, it helps me because once it gets directed or submitted, our manager redirects it back to me because they know Moreno Valley Unified School District is my coverage area. So if a student's going to Beaumont High, Cathedral City, it'll be redirected to that specific counselor. So really, really put in that high school information and the grade. It helps us. And then I believe on the last page, it allows the students to automatically upload their resume, their IEP. So we're not having to go back and forth with it. You can put it on there. Once the referral is submitted, I can see all of that information, and it helps us as counselors already having that information prior to meeting with them, or if we already met with them, then we can just automatically upload. So the portal is amazing. It is a live QR code up on the bottom right. That is a hyperlink that sends you directly to that. So, this presentation can be sent out to everyone. That way you guys can share this with your other students, parents, all of that good stuff. And then the next slide is I like to say our old way. I didn't want to put a QR code for the PDF, but it is a hyperlink as well. So we know some students, some parents still prefer paper documentation, or for all the community partners on here, that way you have that application on hand. And it is the PDF of our application and the consent form. So I know I didn't mention a consent form on the previous one. Unfortunately, our online portal has not included that yet. We typically ask for a consent form for the school district that they're at, but that's when they meet with the counselor, we'll send that over to them. Just because the online portal is not just for one school district, it's for the whole state of California. So that's why they haven't put that one in there yet. And then the last slide, I believe it's just my contact information. Same thing, you scan that QR code, you'll be able to save my contact information. I do cover, so I'm part of the Inland Empire District. Moreno Valley School District is my biggest one, but I have schools from Moreno Valley, from Paris, Temecula, Lake Elsinore, Marietta, Menifee, Hemet, all over the place. Counselors are placed depending on the contract that the school has. So for me, I have non-contract schools. So I do get a lot of the online schools and home schools as well. But like I said, Moreno Valley is my biggest school district, but each counselor is kind of spread out all over the place. But does anyone have any questions about DOR and student services? I see a hand go up.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Michelle?
So maybe said this and I might have missed it because I had staff come in and out of my office. Is this, I know that you said it's up to age 21, but what if they're in college and not high school?
So if they are in college, so technically we'll go up until their 22nd birthday. So for example, I do have students who are in an adult transition program and they age out at 22. So if they are in community college at 17, because they just graduated, 18, they can still be in student services. That's okay.
Okay, and then with the IEP, is that an automatic qualifier, or are there other qualifications that they would, eligibility qualifications?
Yeah, for eligibility, yeah, the IEP or 504, that's just direct right away.
Okay, thank you.
I will say specifically on my caseload, I've only had one student that didn't have an IEP, and unfortunately it was just not a good relationship with the school, different type of setting, and the school just didn't want to provide that. So that was a whole other issue, but the student came to me, we spoke about some of their impairments and struggles, and we made them eligible as well. So there's other ways to provide that, but typically all of our students do have an IEP or a 504 plan.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? And then I know Catherine in the beginning mentioned that we have 2 different programs. So like I said, specifically her and I are on the student service teams, but we do have an adult services. And this is where it sometimes gets confusing because adult services starts at 18 and up. Let's say, for example, we're like Michelle, we'll go back to your college student. They're 18 and they started college, and the big difference is student services. The only financial assistance I can provide is through a paid work experience. Adult services, I can provide more. So if that student needs, and this still has to go through an intake, we need documentation, all of that stuff prior to giving them or, offering them those services. So we can assist with tuition. We do pay at the community college rate, transportation. So it's typically equivalent to a bus pass. Students can use that to their discretion, get that bus pass, fill up their gas tank, take an Uber, take a Lyft, whatever it may be. Books, supplies, sometimes interview attire. We know students are out there and maybe they don't, unfortunately, they don't have that attire. So we can support with that, the interview clothes. Say specifically they are going to a welding program. They need that, the boots, the tools, all of that stuff. That's what we can assist with. So that's the big difference. Student services, just what we can offer is a paid work experience, but in adult services 18 and up, we can offer more. So if we know that the program they're attending, the welding program is going to lead to better employment, we're going to support that. I always like to give the example of if a student is going to college, they're pursuing, they're trying to become a teacher, and then they tell me, hey, Jasmine, I need a camera. I'm like, okay, well, why do you need a camera? Well, I think it's just going to be my hobby now. Well, I can't buy you that camera because it's not part of your individualized plan for employment. That's just a hobby. But if you're saying you need more textbooks or you're going to need an iPad to support you or a laptop to support you for your education, then yes, I can put that in there. So as long as we know supplies, materials, anything that's going to lead to better employment, we can support as well. So that's the big difference. So I don't want you to be discouraged if, well, they need more assistance. We just need to open them up into an adult caseload, but it is more thorough. It is faster pace and high demand on the consumer's end as well. So hopefully that gives some clarification and open up that window. And we're lifelong. We have consumers who are 18, 20, 50, 70. So say a student is going through the adult caseload and, they finish college, they get placed, we close them out successfully. 5 years go by, they get laid off and they're like, hey, Jasmine, I need support again on finding employment. We can try to open up a case again. So we are lifelong. That's the best part. And your case can be transferred all over California once you cross state lines. And obviously we can't do that, but there is a Department of Rehabilitation in every state. So they can request their information. But if they're going from San Diego all the way up to Santa Barbara, they can get their case transferred as well. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being patient with me as my internet went down and Catherine stepped up and helped me. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Of course.
And then, as I mentioned before, I'm not sure if Nicole, because I was informed that she was not able to make it. So I think we're skipping over the cup of happy, moving on into back with Monique about navigating the Google Drive and the HWS website.
Thank you all. Sorry that you all have to hear from me again. But for the sake of time, we're going to go over a few things on our Google Drive and our website, just to make sure that folks know and understand the information that we send out. Do I access it from here? From like from there? Mhm. Okay, that's not connected.
Unless you want to do it, actually.
Can he do it from there? Yeah, can I walk you through and then can you show first? So can you open up the calendar invite? Can you open the calendar invite? Able to do it from there? Hmm. Is it? So what do I do? Just stop sharing? Um, I need to go. Because I don't know where stuff is on this one. That's maybe I can't see. It's my favorite. You're gonna have to do it. Can you just navigate? I'll tell you exactly what to navigate. Thank you, folks. So real quick, I mean, if anyone has any general questions about where to find something on our website or any general questions about our Google Drive, how these meetings operate, things like that, please feel free to unmute and ask, and we can walk you all through that or type it in the chat. But we're just gonna kind of go over some general information real quick. So Gershom, if you can share, just start with the calendar invite that we send out to folks. So you can take this month, for example. If you can just.
Are you
share
still
that.
sharing a screen? I don't see anything.
Not at the moment. We're gonna share
Okay.
it right now. So we're working on 2 laptops. If you just share your screen, then you can just kind of show. Yeah. Okay. So can everyone see the screen? Can you make it big? Please. Mhm. So we usually send out calendar invites for these meetings, as well as the agenda attached, and information in the email body. Where? Oh, got it. Oh, it's on this end.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Perfect. Okay. And so the agenda will always be attached here. And then if you scroll down in the email body, this is what the invite looks like when we do a quarterly hybrid in person. But every time we send out the meeting invite, it will have the information for the meeting as well as the COC website and the Google Drive link. So we know that we include this in the calendar invites every meeting. We just want to make sure that folks are able to access it, know why we're including it, and what's in it. So if we open the Google Drive folder, is that Renee? Renee, what's up? You have a question?
No, sorry, just thumbs up.
Thank
Press
you,
the wrong
Renee.
button. Mhm.
You are awesome. And so Renee is awesome. If you all haven't connected with her and you got homeless families, that might be a good connection. Anyway, so this is the Google Drive that we include. So every meeting, we have a link with the date, and that date is for the meeting that we're going to have. So today, 10/26. In here, you'll see always the agenda. You'll always see the PowerPoint and the minutes for the last meeting. Those are the 3 essential items that are always in the Google Drive. Alongside, you'll see the PowerPoint presentation. So even though we didn't have a cup of happy today, the presentation is on there for you to go ahead and look at. If you're trying to contact someone, we know that those contacts are always on the last page or on the last slide of the presentation. You'll see our overall Youth Advisory Committee one in the corner, our minutes next to it. And then you'll see the 3 PowerPoints for this meeting, which is all the overview. Again, that's just for your knowledge, but we will go through it in depth. And then you'll see the DOR presentation. You'll see Nikki's THP bed availability if you're ever looking for that. That update she gives at every meeting, that's always going to be in here. And if you scroll up, I've added an additional resource for you, the COC PowerPoint and resources. Again, if you want to learn more about our COC, and if at any point folks decide, we need to have a meeting of what the COC is, we can definitely do that, as well as the Youth Action Board flyer. And our Youth Action Board description. One that I wanted to point out real quick is this one, the Building a Homeless Youth Resource Directory. Go ahead and open that. I wanted folks to take a look at this one. Our amazing Mar put this quick flyer together. Again, as we're trying to build out this youth resource directory, which I know Giselle, our student intern, shares with folks often, right? We want to make sure that all of the new agencies coming in or that your agency information is updated. If you get a chance, please go in. You can click the QR code or click the here is this form to add your agency to our directory. We will get that information, put it on the ultimate directory, and then send that out. So again, if you're a new agency and you want to add your information, we highly suggest that you do so here, or if you want to update any of your information, this is another good resource that's always in the drive as well. If we click out, there's another folder in here, which is the 2023 YHGP information folder. And again, my hope is that at our next meeting, we'll go over the YHGP application to really look at, right, what are some of those components that we wanted to include, the NOFO for last year, as well as Appendix A and Appendix B, just some general information that we're using through YHGP. And then if you are a youth partner, if you have youth partners, the information is shared on a different Google Drive with our Youth Action Board and youth partner members. It's more information that's broken down, also broken down by meeting so that they have easy accessibility. This is the 2023 YHGP planning team Excel sheet that you see in the first item. And that's where we kind of want folks to just let us know if you're a part of this team. I don't know how folks feel. Is everyone comfortable and okay with your email, name, title, and agency on an Excel sheet like this? I thought maybe it'd be well for transparent purposes so that everyone knows who's a part of the YHGP planning team, but also so that we know that you're included in our meetings, right? And then we can also add a column for, right, maybe accessibility. Are you able to join once a week, or your commitment level? Are you able to join, 2 meetings a month for YHGP, whatever the case may be. But we definitely wanted to create that partner list because we are going to have to provide that as a part of our what is on our CCP, our stakeholder list. So we definitely want to start building that out, which I know we can count with a lot of you all on this call right now. But yeah, this is our Google Drive. Any questions on the Google Drive or the information or where things can be accessed or found? And again, we have one of these for every meeting. And so if there's ever a time that you're like, oh, there was a meeting that I went to and there was a Google Drive and it had all these great resources for behavioral health, I know it was last month, and you're looking for that information, you can always access it via the website. So if we go back to that calendar invite and you go to COC website, this is the COC website. We always include it for folks to navigate, but we're not sure if you're aware of how to navigate. So we just want to give you some general information. This is the HWS website. And so if you're not familiar with our HWS website, right, or HWS in general, the COC is one of 5 divisions under Housing and Workforce Solutions Department. So when you click the website, this is where it's going to take you. If you see those top items where you can click where it says Continuum of Care, Community Action Partnership, Workforce, those are all of the HWS partner divisions. I know that you all are very familiar with Community Action Partnership, right? CAP, they did a lot of utility assistance and they do a lot of items and programming in the community. Right, workforce is another one of our divisions, right? We're trying to make sure that workforce and housing is something that we're connecting. And then housing authority. I know a lot of folks are always asking, where do we find Section 8, or where can we apply, or where are the vouchers? So you can always access it via housing authority. On our COC website, though, we wanted to point out a few things. If you're ever looking for previous meetings, if you go to COC governance and meetings, which is that second one, and what we'll do is we'll try to put together some screenshots for just general ways and links for you to get to wherever you're looking for, if that would be helpful. But this is where you can see all the recordings for all of the COC meetings. And then in every one of them, you'll see the date, agenda, same thing for Board of Governance. You'll see the date, agenda, documents, and recording. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the Youth Advisory Committee meeting right there. And so if you ever need to refer to any of them, you always see the documents and the recordings here as well. So If you click on the agenda, you'll see the agenda. If you click on documents, it'll take you to, thank you, Gershom. So that's today's agenda. If you go to documents, it'll take you to the same Google Drive that you found in your emails on the calendar invite. Go back. And then the recordings for the meeting will be posted after the actual meeting. So after this, you'll see the recording for this meeting. That's one item we wanted to navigate through. Another one is we're always wondering where resources are on our website. So if you scroll up. So if you go back to Continuum of Care, and you scroll down where it says Get Help, Connect Homeless Services, which is the next tab over. Next to COC Governance and Meetings, right there. Thank you. You scroll down. This is where you'll see some of those resources, right? If you click there, you'll get the list of shelters. There's a list of emergency shelters. If you keep scrolling, there's a list of agencies and partners, right? If we're ever looking for emergency shelter. If you keep scrolling on this page, you'll also see, scroll up. Keep going up. Go back to Continuum of Care. So there you can find the emergency shelters. The other item that we wanted to share is the COC learning opportunities. I know that you all participate in our monthly webinars. And so our monthly webinars take place and the videos, presentation, and flyer are also on our website. So this is where you'll see the topic, the video recording, the presentation slides, and the flyer and or resources that are shared. So you can always go here to find the webinar series as well. Any other items that folks have in particular that we want to navigate or know where it's located, anything like that? I hope that this helps to understand our calendar invites, the Google Drive, and the website link that we include in every meeting. No other questions? Go back to the COC. And then if you scroll down on our general page, you'll see here that there's a Connect IE. I wanted to point this one out. And then if folks are looking for, do you want to maybe explain this one? Oh, we added it on here. Thank you. So we do have Connect IE on here, as you all know, another platform to really look for resources and also do referrals online. And we did have a webinar on it. So if you go back to our webinars, you should be able to see the Connect IE presentation. But this is another neat resource that's on our page that folks can go in if you're looking for housing or if you're looking for food pantries, right, for a client in Hemet. You know, this is another good resource. If you scroll down, you'll also see our programs. So if you are interested in any of our other subcommittees, all of the information is on here as well. And if you're interested in joining our COC, please go ahead and email us. You'll also see the CES flyer on our main page, as well as the contact information, and it is in English and Spanish. And then you'll also see here a list of agencies that are a part of the Continuum of Care, as well as the emergency shelter services, past due rent services, and any quick links. On our quick links, you can also access our point in time count website, which I know folks were looking at on our main page, and then also Get Help to Connect to Homeless Services, COC Learning Opportunities, which is the webinar. So again, if you want to navigate, you can also go on this main page, scroll down, and navigate on these main links. I hope that helps. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you. And then, thank you. If anyone has any other information or questions for us, please feel free to give me a call or email me, and I'll navigate you through that. And I will pass it over to Nikki as we are running out of time.
Oh, okay. So let me pull up my screen. Sorry, guys. So the bed availability list, as you see, that is on the drive. So I try to get that updated on occasion. There are now 15 providers in Riverside County for THP NMD. So that's the rehabilitating out of foster care off of juvenile probation. So we actually do have a lot of bed availability. Children's First had 14, Daughters of Love 3, Divinity has 9. Downs and Martin did not report. Embracing Life's Changes 4, Kamali 1, New Vision 4, Oak Grove 2. 1, I need to change that. Phoenix Rising has 7, Steps has 7, The Heart Matters has 2, and Walden has 4. It's, Michelle, did you want to give yours? I skipped yours so that you could give it.
And we're
Thank you,
pulling up the
Nikki.
PowerPoint again so that you all can see that.
So, and Michelle's with the SpareNet. Did
Thank
wanna
you,
give your
Nikki, and-
availability?
And Monique, thank you for navigating us through all that. I had spoke with Nikki and said, I'm so confused and I'm so illiterate when it comes to certain things. So thank you. I feel so much better. And I feel like I'm capable now of seeing everything. So thank you for that demonstration. For Aspiranet, we have 8 vacancies. I do service parenting youth, and I do have 1 parenting youth unit or vacancy near UCR. I have a female vacancy and soon to be 2 female vacancies in the Corona area. And I have both male and female throughout the city limits of Riverside, Moreno Valley. So a total of 8. So if you have any questions, or most of you in this space know how to contact me.
Right, and if you will notice on that spreadsheet, it has locations. Because sometimes, especially with our probation youth, we need to place them outside of the area where some of their negative affiliations might have been. So Riverside County's in contract, like Daisy's house is clear in LA. Michelle will help get you hooked up to get youth even like in Grand Terrace, you know, I mean, if we can get youth where they need to succeed, so the locations are listed, male, female, specialty is in what they, you know, kind of specialize in and accept. Restrictions. If there's ever any questions, most programs are what's called a remote site. Most of us look like we put youth in regular apartment complexes, so their neighbor may have 3 kids, the other neighbor may be retired, you know. And there's also single site, which is typically like a large house, and they'll move in 4 or 5 youth. Some of them are monitored 24/7, some are not. It provides a little bit more care for the youth who might not quite be ready for that level of independence of being in an apartment, because it sounds cool. It's a lot. And then there is also host sites, which they will live in a house, and then the programs will go in and still work with them on the case management. Those are very limited and hard to find by, because you can't find people who are typically kind of like, yeah, bring me in a 19-year-old, you know, I mean, most people aren't, I mean, we don't have it, so those are hard to find, but that is then again, another high level of care for the.
Thank you, Nikki. And this document is also available in the Google Drive. Go ahead, Michelle.
I just wanted to offer some more insight on the host, because our program does do host. Typically, the applicant would need to identify their own host. It has to be somebody that has a vested interest in them succeeding, and that knows kind of what their struggles are, what are some of their barriers, whether it be mental wellness struggles, or substance use, or anger, or just a whole gamut of different barriers, because we don't want someone bringing someone into their home blindsided. And we definitely have to certify the home and the space that the applicant would be staying in. They need to have their own bedroom. They can share a bathroom, and they would still be visited by one of my staff on a monthly basis, so that they can participate in a meeting with the applicant or the client to go over independent living goals to help them move towards what is called the scattered site, so they can graduate into a scattered site. I typically recommend a host setting for those that aren't quite ready, aren't quite demonstrating that they're ready to live in a apartment setting with a roommate. So they definitely have to identify that person. Anyone over the age of 18 years old would have to be live scanned in that setting.
And Riverside County, as we said, but there's several new people here, finally went to a one application, one and done. So any one of these contracted providers on this list will accept the same application. I believe that's on the Google Drive too. So we just fill that out. You can send it to any one of these programs and we'll start screening and doing our processes from there. We're just trying to make it simpler for the youth. It's 4 pages. I know Caroline's worked with a lot of the youth on trying to get that done up. It doesn't take that long, does it? A lot easier than old ones?
It's a lot easier than the old ones, yes. And it depends person to person.
So, so we're trying to streamline things, so hopefully that helps with the AB 12 youth.
Thank you. And you had a question.
Michelle, you can probably answer this. So when a non-minor dependent is opting for a host site, I heard you say they are the ones to locate the home in which would be the host site. Is there an advantage for a non-minor dependent to go that route rather than the silk?
Yes, so the difference, and a lot of people kind of struggle with this concept because they want to know what is the difference from them being in a foster home versus being in a host setting or a silk. So the main difference is that they still have the support of an adult. That adult support, it's almost like a foreign exchange student, if you will. That adult supporter isn't required to cook for them, take them grocery shopping, do their laundry. They're participating in helping the applicant develop those skill sets versus when they're sometimes in a foster home, the foster parent has to do those things for them. The difference between a SILP and a host is that in a SILP, they only get to see their social worker once a month. They don't have case management and the life coach working on a weekly basis. And a lot of times, host person that's identified, they want that additional support from a provider that is going to work with that client on a weekly basis to provide more intensive case management. If they're in a SILP, they don't have that. So that's kind of the difference. I hope I answered that for you.
I think so. And I also heard that parenting youth, if they do go into a home with a supportive adult, that there is an additional $200. Would that, are you familiar with that?
No.
In addition to the infant supplement, there's a $200.
Wait, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Are you referring to what the youth receives or what the host receives?
I was kind of unsure about it. You know what? Maybe you and I can just speak individually, and I'll talk to you about what I came across.
I can answer it very quickly. The host for our agency receives $550. That includes their rent and utilities, so they don't get any additional funding, and they cannot ask the youth for any additional funding. And the youth themselves, they receive a reduced stipend from us that we back out the utility portion that a youth in a remote site would receive. So they receive a slightly reduced stipend so that they can continue to pay for their own groceries, their own hygiene products, laundry things and stuff like that. And then they are still eligible for the $900 for infant supplement if the county, the eligibility worker approves it. I don't know anything about $200.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. And so folks, if you do have foster youth that need to get connected to services or youth exiting the system or need to go into extended care or need placement or bed availability, your folks to reach out to is Nikki, our amazing chair, and then any other additional agency supporting like Michelle's with the SpearNet or Caroline with Oak Grove. So thank you all for those updates. Rainbow, do you have any bed updates as we are getting to the end?
Sure. So for Riverside TLP, we have 1 male availability. And then we do not have female availability. Harrison House in the Desert is actually full. It's the first time in years that it's been completely full, except we do have 2 voucher spots. Well, 1 right now, and then we're going to have 2 next month. So that's coming up. And then here in Riverside, we'll have a voucher spot available next month.
I called that one. I know,
I was thinking about it.
I need it. We'll see which youth gets in with other documents. So again, thank you folks for that. And then, as you all know, we're gonna skip over, I mean, the only update for YAB is our Youth Action Board is working on YHDP items, and our CCP, as well as holding meetings to continue peer-to-peer support amongst each other for services and resources, and building out our youth directory and just supporting the youth members on our board as well. We've noticed that peer-to-peer support and sharing those resources with each other have been very beneficial with our YAB. And we are, like we said, working on YHDP. And so again, if you want your YAB members to get, or your youth, or the youth, our youth participants. What did we say? Youth partners. There we go. If you want to connect youth partners to our Youth Action Board, here's our flyer, and they can always email me as well. And again, we do want them to be at the forefront for YHDP to lead this. So please, if you want to connect them to myself, I will give them more information about our Youth Action Board, and we'll have YAB members connect with them as well. And then I know that John is on for our next meeting. Our hope was that CES can come in and provide the necessary resources that our youth providers feel like they need. So we know that you all have expressed, right? How do I, even our youth participants have expressed, right? How do I get connected to services? Who do I call? How do I check in on my case? How do I know who my case manager is? If I have youth clients, how do I connect them? How do I get access to HMIS? Or how do I become someone who can utilize a TAY assessment and assess our youth? So we know that those are questions pending. And so our hope is that John can help us if anyone has any immediate questions at the moment. If not, next meeting, we will go over that information. Right, John, if you have anything else.
No, that's totally fine with me. Yes, we'll definitely go over everything, iron out all the details to make sure we're able to support the community as much as we can.
So if you do have any CS questions, please go ahead and email them to myself or COC at Rivco. And if you want to connect with your chair and vice chair on any items, please let us know as well.
Awesome.
Okay, so we are moving into our call for agenda items.
Wait, we must.
Okay.
Can you go back, please? Go back. Go back. Thank you.
Oh, our member spotlight. Yeah, is Jessica with Lutheran Social Services with us on the screen today?
Jessica, are you on this meeting? No, it's okay.
I love that we had a picture that that's.
Yeah.
Okay, so we missed a couple of this for this month's meeting, but that's quite all right. So again, moving into the call for agenda items for our next meeting. Anybody out there have things that they would like to have discussed in this forum? Please feel free to raise your hand or just speak it out.
Oh,
Carolyn has a
Hi,
hand up.
everyone. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Carolyn, and I am the California Youth Connection SoCal coordinator. And I was wondering if it's possible to maybe have some youth from Riverside come present specifically to some of the issues the chapter has been really uplifting in terms of housing. I know housing is a very cross-sectional issue, and we've identified some of those problems with long-term stability in housing, some of those root causes being transitional support services, as well as not being able to access the FYI vouchers. So I was just wondering maybe if that's like a possibility for the next quarterly meeting.
Yes, Caroline, and go ahead and connect with me via email so we can see what the need is and then see which partners need to be invited to support. And then we can definitely plan something to support the the young people in your group or the youth that you all work alongside. Thank you.
And anybody else out there have any announcements?
Holidays.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right, we talked about doing the holiday thing for the CAD members.
Okay, do we want to do maybe like an ad hoc committee?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're interested, go ahead, Rainbow.
Hello. Yes, so we were thinking of doing, something around the holidays for the YAB members. So if we want to plan an ad hoc meeting, we can totally do that, or any of your youth that are in need. We do have a couple partners throughout the county that could probably help. So do we want to create one?
We can, if you're interested, you're working alongside youth that have a need that we can maybe get together as a group and fill, and you're interested or your agency has anything to participate with, or donations that you all maybe receive a surplus with, and you want to figure out what is a need that you can fill. We want to make sure that we're checking in with our youth members during the holidays, and we're working with them to really make sure that they feel included. They're not left out. Holidays can be rough, and we want to start an ad hoc group. So if you're interested in joining that, please put your information in the chat. Let us know. Holiday ad hoc committee, and or email us. Good job, man.
Thank you.
And then as you all have any announcements for your future events or future holiday events for the youth that you work alongside, please go ahead and send us those flyers so that we can share it out with folks at our next meeting on our Google Drive or via email. Anyone have anything?
Anybody else have any other announcements?
Oh, those are the, yeah.
I want some of those.
Thank you.
We have, when we're kicking off at the California County Life Center, we're kicking off our annual toy drive. It's a giving tree. So we've got probably about 70 partners out there throughout Riverside County that are helping supporting this effort. We've been getting gifts, toys, wish lists, if you want to call them, to the young ladies in our opportunity homes, as well as in our youth centers, because we do have many youth that have children of their own. So this is just our way of giving back to them in the community. So if you happen to visit www.cflckids.org, kind of maybe scan onto that QR code, you can look at some of the wish lists that have been created by these young people. And we do our best at getting their wishes fulfilled. Sometimes they are in the form of a gift. Sometimes they are in the form of just, someone that they can talk to. Just really all depends on what the youth are looking for. Mind you, when it's the little kids, it's usually mom and dad who have submitted their wish lists. But again, our teenagers and again, our young adults that are experiencing things that, that they're going through right now, it's always nice to be able to fulfill what their wishes are. So we're just launching that now. You will also see drop boxes, gift boxes, the giving trees themselves. If you go into any Starbucks, and I mean just about any Starbucks, because they are all over the place, along with our local school districts and things like that. And then again, some of our businesses that we partner with over the years. Been doing it with these for our opportunity homes for 41 years now. So to keep continuing to do it, can't do without you all. So.
Thank you, Greg. And if you send us that info, we can send it out to our youth advisory committee via email. Does anyone else have any announcements?
No other announcements, all right. And then I'll move to number 9, adjournment. To go ahead and close this meeting out. Thank you, everybody, for all your time today. Every month that we get together, or every quarter that we get together, is very valuable. We've come up with some, hopefully some good plans that we can get implemented and help these young people come up with solutions. So until we meet again, which will be January. Are we doing January for the next hybrid meeting?
January, we might go dark.
Okay.
So either January or February. The next meeting will be a hybrid meeting as well. We don't have one. A meeting? They're virtual. No worries. So the next 2 meetings are virtual, and then we will meet again in January or February. And we will let you all know that, and it will be at Greg's center.
Be back at Empower Youth in Hemet.
So we hope to see you all there in person. Please plan for that in-person meeting. We'd love to have you all in person. Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you all.
And then thank you to our wonderful chair and vice chair, Nikki and Greg. I hope everyone has a great day. Bye, everyone. Email us if there's anything else that we need to
Bye.
discuss. Thank you, Michelle.